Welcome and happy Thursday. Thank you for joining us on the KHOU 11 stream. I'm Jacob Rascon with Steph Simmons. Weather impact today beginning this morning at 2:30 a.m. We had our meteorologists here tracking all of the storms. We've gone through warnings and watches and delays. Currently 170 delays, 57 cancellations over at Bush because of the weather, 41 delays, 57 cancellations at Hobby. We have confirmed wind damage to certain homes in Wharton County from early morning. Tornado warning. Kim Castro here. We have, of course, Jennifer Reyna tracking the roads. Also, Chris here helping out. And Kim, you were here early this morning when we had that tornado warning. Of course, that has expired, but we now know there's wind damage as a result.
Yeah, everything really got going starting at 2 this morning when I woke up. Radar has not stopped since. Right now, the main threat is all of this rainfall and more of it incoming. So the flood risk is area-wide, level 3 on the 1 to 4 scale, and this does not happen often. So here's a live look at radar. You talked about some of the stronger storms earlier today. Well, we're starting to see some storm reports like you mentioned, and there was a couplet exiting Wharton County, pushing into Fort Bend, and there have been some reports on the ground that 10 homes have been damaged, some cars have been damaged. That's going to be something that the National Weather Service surveys as the storms start to wrap up. But for now, we are tracking ongoing damage. So we've got a special weather statement and a flood advisory for League City. I'm hearing some loud rumbles of thunder out there. Very charged storms, frequent flashes of lightning alongside the heavy downpours. Right now, the flood advisory lasts until 10:45. This includes downtown. I'm worried about Navigation and Canal. That's an area that flooded pretty intensely last week. There was a car submerged underwater, so that's going to be a really big problem spot. Along the Gulf Freeway, that's where we've seen a lot of really heavy rain over the last few hours, and so that is going to be something to monitor as well. And even down 288, a flood advisory for that area lasts until 10:15, and then a flash flood warning. So that's a step up above the flood advisory, and this is no surprise for Matagorda until 11 o'clock. We got to really scale back on the rain because from Blessing to Palacios, rainfall totals have exceeded 10 inches this morning. That is a tremendous amount of rainfall, and it's a growing concern even further north, El Campo towards East Bernard. This includes Wharton, a flood advisory there, now in effect until 11:15. And you'll notice more heavy rain filtering into the area, and it is going to be something that lasts through the next few hours. So right now, Eldon, you're starting to see some impacts from the special weather statement. Up next is going to be Moss Bluff. We're tracking some wind and we are tracking some heavy rain in addition to the potential of even some small hail, quarter size. So this would be pea-sized hail. If you look outside the window and you notice some bouncing out there, that would be your small hail. But no escaping the rain right now in the heart of the city. So you are likely tuning in, wondering what's going on. How long is this going to last? We're going to answer all of those questions for you right now. Bush Airport seeing moderate to very heavy rain. So it varies whether you get the little light yellow towards the dark red, so that's your gradient of rainfall. Luckily, the airport right now not seeing too much lightning. That would warrant a ground stop. You'll notice over at Hobby Airport, it's the same thing, really heavy rain, widespread impacts as far as saturation is concerned, and there's still more approaching from I-10 the Katy freeway. So Columbus, you're seeing another round of showers that will eventually push into Katy and then get into the Loop and the Beltway. So what do we have to watch for today? Additional 1, 2, maybe even 3 inches of rainfall on top of the rain we've already gotten, which is why we've got that increased flood risk. Future track radar shows us this is a pretty good depiction of what's happening right now, so we're going to trust it. Notice by 10 o'clock, it doesn't change a whole lot. We see some thinning out of the rain along the North Freeway and for our West Siders, but east of downtown Edo, Pasadena, League City, Baytown, the areas that have already been hit pretty hard, will continue to see rounds of rain, and Wharton, unfortunately, you too. So additional rainfall is on the table. We could exceed a foot of rain for the Palacios area by the time this morning's storms are all said and done. That is definitely a big bullseye that we have been monitoring. Now the rainfall has gone on for more than 6 hours, but just in the last 8 inches, blessing to Palacios. If I scale the clock back to 8 hours, that's when we get the 10+ inches of rainfall. Bay City to Wadsworth, about 8 inches of rain, and Hawkinsville, just about 7.5. That's why there is that active flash flood warning there, at least through 11 o'clock in the morning. So several hours of additional rainfall, several hours of additional rain in Mont Belvieu and Barrett as well. Meteorologist Chris Ramirez is here with me this morning. You got more updates on the flood concerns, some of the rainfall totals, and we have rain gauges in our neighborhoods that you're going to walk us through too.
That's true. And of course, it's all how long this rain is supposed to be falling, at least for the next few hours. So it's going to be a little bit dicey in terms of looking at that flooding potential. So as we look at our future track, we're looking at those showers and some storms continuing at least through the later morning hours. So as we get closer towards around maybe the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock hours, we are still going to continue to see this trailing rain, especially from downtown Houston to Galveston. And as we head into later in the early afternoon hours, we're not really expecting this to let up at least until 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock this afternoon. So that's something that we really have to keep an eye on, is that flooding risk. Right now, we haven't seen any severe storms in terms of winds at excess of 60 miles an hour or damaging hail or damaging winds or any type of tornado threat. We had that tornado warning that was in place at 4 o'clock this morning, but right now it's looking more likely the amount of rain that's falling. And that's why the National Weather Service has issued that flood watch today, which pretty much encompasses most of southeast Texas. This is going to be in place at least until 7 p.m. That does include Harris County, Houston, Humboldt, Woodlands, Conroe, even Montgomery County, Tomball, Sealy, Galveston, likely to continue to see this heavy rain as we go into the next few hours. So as we look at our neighborhood weather network, this is our Tempest weather stations that are currently in certain locations, especially out in the eastern portions of Harris County. Twisted Ash Court out in the East Sam Houston Tollway, up to 2 inches of rain. So it's looking more likely that the east side of town and areas east towards Liberty have received the more of the heavier rainfall. As we look at closer towards the city, closer towards Bunker Hill Village, about a half an inch of rain. We haven't quite got up to about an inch, and usually we start seeing problematic areas when we see those 2 inches or more, especially in our roads and our overpasses. But other than that, in terms of looking at northeast of Houston, this is around the Lake Houston area, Tascasita. They have now in excess. They have now reached up to 1.5 inches, so they're approaching that 2-inch mark. Even Medina Way up to 2.18 inches of rain just near Lake Houston. So when we start getting into that 2-inch rainfall accumulations, that's when we start seeing that more of that ponding on roadways. And so for right now, Houston proper has not really received that much rain, but they've also received that 2-inch accumulations off near the coast, especially in the Clear Lake area, closer towards Galveston. 2.24 inches of rain. This is South Houston right here, so that's 45. 2.24 inches of rain at Mill Garden Court. 2 inches of rain at Towns Road, just to the west of 45. So it's the rain accumulations that we're slowly keeping an eye on, or vigilantly keeping an eye on, but we have not received the amount of rain that they've received, especially along the coast and around Matagorda County. Look at these rainfall accumulations. County Road 391 up to 6.38 inches of rain. Matagorda headquarters, 8.1 inches of rain. These are those weather stations. These are pretty much confirmed in those locations. So good thing that Houston has not received that amount of rain that they're seeing along the coast, but that's just kind of giving you an idea of the potential flooding threat that is in place for our area as we head into the next few hours, especially in the early morning hours. So as we look at Galveston County, the rainfall out in Galveston up to 2 inches at Avenue D, just near portions of south of Santa Fe. So Galveston County still seeing more of the heavier rainfall along the coastal areas. Galveston's in the city of Galveston, up to half an inch, but just over 1/10 of an inch at Del Gavaz Avenue. So rainfall accumulations not so bad for our coastal areas. So as we look at Montgomery County, areas north of Houston, about tenth of an inch of rain. Montgomery County has really not received that much in terms of any flooding concerns. Of course, that's 45. You have Willis right here. Usually along 45, we see those problematic areas along the feeders and the frontage roads. The good news for Montgomery County is that we haven't received that much rain that we've received, especially that's in place for areas northeast of town. Here's a look at the radar. We have a lot of heavy rain. This is a swath of red that's in place, which is indicating that heavy rainfall is expected to continue at least through the next few hours. And so we're also tracking our special weather statements. It's looking like the heavier rainfall that is currently occurring just to the east of Houston. The National Weather Service issuing a special weather statement until Thursday at 9 o'clock. That's we could see some hail with these storms that are currently moving over Baytown. It's looking that they just passed over Baytown, South Mount Bellevue along I-10. Towards Beaumont is when we're seeing more of the stronger storm activity and the heavy rainfall. So still heavy rain still in place across Houston, but it's where you see the lightning is where the locations of where the strongest part of any type of given storm. And it's looking likely that they're seeing those rumbles of thunder. They're probably hearing that lightning out or hearing that thunder rather along I-10 east of Houston. But as I zoom out and we take a bigger look at what's happening, we still have quite a bit of rainfall that's expected to continue to train into the Houston area. So right now, flooding concerns are not really ongoing for Houston proper, but if this heavy rain continues, at least for the next 2 to 3 hours, like we're expecting to see, that could cause a little bit of concern in terms of flooded ponding on roadways or some flooding in those low-lying areas, as well as the streams and the creeks that are going to be probably problematic as we head into the early afternoon hours there. So looking likely that heavy rainfall, not expecting to really let up soon. We're just continuing to track the heavy rain as well as that flooding threat as we progress through the rest of the morning. But right now is the stronger part of the storms occurring off towards the east of Houston, just to the east of Houston, not too far away, especially out in Liberty. We have rumbles of thunder, windy I-10, maybe not a good idea to head towards Beaumont right now as we are continuing to see those quarter-inch hail as well as the heavier rainfall. But it's just looking likely to be shaping up to a pretty messy day as we head into the next few hours. So as we look at the heavier rainfall that we've seen, this is radar indicated. This is an estimate on the radar that usually gives you an approximate. And so it's likely that areas towards Baytown, maybe towards Mont Bellevue, I-10, really not a good place right now to be, because that's where you possibly could start seeing those flooded frontage roads in and around just east of Houston. So definitely expecting this to continue at least through the next few hours. And we are expecting this future track, as I showed you before, to continue at least through the 11 o'clock hour as well as the 12 p.m. hour. So early afternoon is when we're really not expecting this to really lighten up, and that could potentially cause some flooding concerns for Houston as we get towards the lunchtime hours. So rainfall continuing to last, especially through 11:30, 12 p.m. Not really moving much as we head into the early afternoon, and we're really not going to see this lighten up until as we get closer towards 3, 4 p.m. That's when we finally can get a break from the heavy rain that's falling in Houston as of now. I'm going to go ahead and send it over to Jacob and Steph for more.
All right, Chris, thank you for that staggering numbers as he was showing us on our graphics. We do have some other numbers to share with you. Of course, power outages in weather like this, a main concern. So at last check, CenterPoint with 13,000 customers out, then 1,700 for Entergy, and then we just got an update from the airports as well. We now have Bush 170 delays, 58 cancellations, Hobby 41 delays with 57 cancellations.
That's significantly up since this morning when we were on air from 5 to 7.
You got it. Yep. And
then also the power outages, they're like at their peak were like 16,000, and then it was back down to like 8,000, and so now it's back up, it appears, to where it was originally.
It's fluctuating for sure, and we're looking right here on our phones of the CenterPoint map, outage map, and it looks like it's not centrally located, those outages, to any specific area. Yeah, a lot in Montgomery County.
Jennifer Reyna standing by, of course, all morning long, checking for high water spots. So what do we got? Is there anything really dramatic as far as high water spots? Are they scattered throughout? Are they isolated?
Yeah,
You heard Chris talk about the east side getting hit really hard, and that's why most of this list that's coming up from Transtar, this is only a few of the locations. There are many more, but what we have confirmed, watch out Uvalde at Wallaceville, Uvalde under I-10 the East Freeway, Monmouth underneath I-10 the East Freeway, Wallaceville at Wood Forest, and Evanston at Freeport are just the short list of what intersections are really impacted. But so much rain has hit the area that I'm not surprised. Any low-lying areas that'll be washed out. Ponding is definitely an issue. Hydroplaning has been a precaution. I've been telling folks that, you know, it's a high probability this morning. If you're driving too fast and you have to be out there on the roadways, it could cost you. We have a problem on the South Loop. It's involving an 18-wheeler. We do have a ton of slow conditions. Obviously, the whole area has been with rain throughout the overnight hours, so that has been something to note. 59 at 288, a crash is working, so that's why we're backed up from about Upper Kirby into downtown Houston. I took the radar off of that so you could at least see the sensors that we are seeing. Okay, here's that South Loop crash at MLK where the 18-wheeler just scooted on out to the right side. They're blocking a right lane. We do have some delays in the area, and this is that 69 northbound problem at 288. So if you are coming in from, let's say, Upper Kirby or the Galleria area, or anybody coming in from Fort Bend, once you get past the Galleria, everything is slow going, but it's going to be extra congested due to the right lane that's blocked, and obviously emergency crews are on scene trying to clear up every single crash as quickly as possible. Drive times, no surprise that they are thick and long out there. 56 minutes in from Katy. If you are leaving Baytown, 24 minutes. For the Kingwood commuters leaving right now, 31 minutes is what you can count on. But I would leave with plenty of extra time. That's if you must be out on the roadways. But you've heard us say over and over that high water and flooded areas are a high probability, and that we would just avoid that altogether if you can just work from home today.
Okay. All right, Jen, thank you for breaking that down for us.
You
so
bet.
Obviously we know that the roads were going to be a mess today. So Jen has the alternate routes and she's giving you a lot of very helpful information. Meantime, we're getting a lot of comments from viewers on social media right now. So we want to share a couple of those with you. KHOU viewer Ileana Barrera commented on Facebook saying that it's pouring out with a lot of thunder right now in the Dixie Farm Road area.
We've got Jessica Morris. She says there are power outages in her area up in Klein.
And Melly Reyes from Fresno says she's seeing some bad thunderstorms up near her.
We got Jessica Wynn in LaPorte area. She said it's looking bad out there. Non-stop lightning and thunder about an hour. And she's one of the 16,000 or so customers who lost power.
Yeah, it's not fun when you're part of
No.
that. Sergio Hernandez is in East Pearland. He says there's been loads of lightning near him.
We've got Lindsay Griffith, Clear Lake area. Non-stop thunder and lightning out there, she says, has been crazy.
Jody Stason says there have been power surges in the Lamarck Dickinson area as well.
And Beth Yarbrough, she's over in Friendswood. She said that area had taken a hard hit when she sent this message, and she's one of those who lost power. As I made the comment earlier, oh wow, I thought there were going to be more power outages, which I did, but you know, for the 16,000, if that's you, it doesn't matter.
It's terrible, and I tell you what, you know, the longer it goes on, when you are one of those people or one of those families who's lost power, you start to think about things in your refrigerator.
Right.
You know, that's that. So, all right, we will continue to keep you posted throughout the morning here on KHOU 11 Plus. We appreciate your time. We'll be back after 9 a.m. with Stephanie Simmons and Jacob Rascone. We'll see you in a few.